Sorry for the delay. Just trying to get. Okay. So I set up the stream and realized that my overlay had a different title on it. So I had to run and make one real quick and get in here. So that being said, welcome. My name is Dave. And I'm here to do some hobby backlog. Hobby backlog can be anything to do with the miniatures gaming hobby, painting, assembly, which is kind of what we're going to do today with a little bit of a twist. So I'm just getting everything together, so sorry about the hand cam if you're seeing it now. Just pulling up the chat window so that we can talk to one another. Anybody who's been in here knows that I just do what needs to be done, painting or assembly, and talk about whatever the chat wants to talk about. So today I'm going to be doing some heavy gear Blitz models. So specifically some, oh, why is that not working the way I want it to? It worked that way last time. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna be doing some heavy gear Blitz models. These are Caprice. Welcome to anyone who's already watching. My handy dandy tray of things. This is one of the finished ones that I've done. This is a Megadoo. I'm going to put a real quick picture of that Megadoo up real quick, y'all. So as we are going through the rest of it, boom, that's a big Megadoo, and that's not where I want it. Always fun. I always say one day I'll actually be prepared for one of these. So we're going to shrink this down a little bit more so we can put it in here and then fade it into the background, boys and girls, because we don't need to see it all the way there. And then one last little picture, because it is my chosen faction in Heavy Gear Blitz. We're going to pull up the Caprice logo here. Why? Because we can. Alright. Boop, boop. Beautiful. Slide that in the background as well. Maybe even go behind the Megadoo a little bit. Alright. It's not beautiful. It will work for what we need to work it for. Yeah, we can make it a little further, I guess. A little smaller. Get it in the right spot, I guess, and move it on up. Alright. So anyway. We can't cut off part of the Caprice logo because, oops, that would be wrong to the Caprice. So let's make sure we have it selected there and boom. Okay. Anyway, I can get a little bit more zoom in on these here in just a moment. I'm just going to kind of lay things out. I've been working on and was going to work on a video for the magnetization of these, and I'm going to do that kind of live now. I do have some echoes here. So magnetization. Magnetization allows for the complete complete customization of a model without having to buy multiple copies of a model. Sorry if my voice is drifting. I'm just pulling some stuff out here. So, as you can see, we have the legs here for another armored or heavily armored, or the heavy armored Caprice mount. So we are going to use it to make. I'm going to do another Megadoo. And I'll show you basically when it comes to mounts. We have a couple of screws. And the reason why I have it wide right now is to show you this out here. This is your leg sprue. Your leg sprue has your center piece here where the body of the mount goes on. You have your jump jets and your forelegs, and these are armor plates that go on the heavier armored ones. And that can be used for a couple of different screws here. So we have this one, which is the sorry, just making sure I got it all. This one, which is the Megadoo, and then Kadesh slash Bashan, and it's all the parts that go on either one of those. And then this is the Amon sprue. When you get a starter box of Caprice, and I was lucky enough to get this one from Nick to let me kind of put these things together. I did not get a brand new one, but I am going to get another one here shortly because I want to make some more Caprice stuff. But when you get the box, you get enough to make 5 mounts. You get the 5 ACOs, the little guys right here. Spoon. And they have variants as well, but that's some tiny magnets. So that's some tiny magnets. So I don't know about magnetizing those. If you really wanted to go through it, you can. But like I said, some tiny work. All right. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Got my chat up here. I want to make sure that we can see. Matter of fact, let me fix this real quick. So, boom, boom, boom. All right. Oh, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So, I get my chat up. By the way, feel free to chat. That's kind of what we're here for. This basically, Hobby Backlog is here to keep me accountable for doing my hobby stuff. Nick and I are going to have a game here soon. And there's going to be a larger army than he has models for already assembled. So I'm trying to get these together. So as a backlog, it instantly becomes, well, it's already part of the backlog, but it becomes even more important in the backlog. We're going to put these together. All right. So you can make 5 mounts, 5 of the larger mounts, the Megadoos, Amons, Kadeshes, or Megadoo, Amon, Kadeshes, Bashams. You can make 5. You use the regular legs if you want to do Bashan or Kadesh. You use the armor plates if you want to do Amon or Megadoo. You can magnetize the leg armor plates if you get small enough magnets. I didn't do that on these. So, just because I don't have the magnets and it's not as important. But to really get everything out of the box, to get the most out of the box, you want to make sure that you actually you can magnetize everything, so you can pull those armor plates off and have the base for a Kadesh or a Bashan, or whatever the case may be. All right, so this Megadoo here is magnetized fully, except for the armor plates, like I said. But you can, not many people, okay, if you're playing a friendly game, I mean, people are going to get mad at you if your model is not WYSIWYG or what you see is what you get. So, but I like to have it. It reminds me what the guy has and what he doesn't. So this particular Megadoo has this particular weapon set up, or you can just pull off because they're magnetized and load on, the other weapons on whatever side you want, and you have a different, a different armament, a different setup. So you can change a Megadoo Rex to a Megadoo Barrage, or whatever other Megadoo you want. Also, I magnetize the bodies, the legs, so that if I don't want to use a Megadoo on this particular one, and I want to make it in this case, since it has heavy armor plates, I want to make it an Amon, then I would magnetize the Amon piece, and I can just set it on top of the same legs. So that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to put together some Amon, Kadesh, Bashan. I have these two legs set up for a heavier mount. So we're going to make an Amon to put on this one, and then we're going to make. I have two Kadeshes to use from his set, so I'm thinking, well, doesn't matter. I'm going to make I'm going to make one more set of heavy legs in case I want another Megadoo. And then I'm going to make two sets of light legs without the armor plating, and then make a couple each of the Bashan, Kadesh, and Megadoo pieces. So just to kind of show you what you can get out of this, and also so I can finish them up the way that I want them to be. All right. So I do a lot of things, so sometimes I'm not exactly prepared for everything, but we'll get it done. So I have some snips here that I want to get out so I can get these pieces off. I have two things. I have a mold line remover, which will help get some of the extra pieces off that don't get snipped whenever I do it. If it's too much left on there, I can use my hobby knife to get that off, to use that. And the other thing that I have is my hobby drill, because I am going to show you how these get magnetized. And we'll go from there. I need to grab my drill bits. The magnets that I'm using right now, if I remember correctly, are like 1/8 inch magnets. Do not quote me on that. But I have some in a little tube right here. They're fairly cheap to get. You can get them on eBay or Amazon, whatever your preference is. And then this, I believe, like I said, it's an 1/8 inch drill bit. I like to use a smaller drill bit to start the holes I drill for magnets, and that's to help line them up. Okay, I'm just moving a couple of things around here, get a little bit more comfortable. Once again, please feel free to chat. I have it right up here in front of me, so I will be able to see it. Because part of this is being able to ask questions and just talk while we put things together. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this hobby drill, I believe, is an army painter one. It's one of the more fancy ones that they have. It comes with these little like chucks, for lack of a better term. You can put different size drill bits in. They're just little brass chucks. So if you're going to be working with multiple drill bits, you can grab one and put it in whatever size chuck you need. Pretty sure that's what they would call them. I got another one over here. Yeah, I think that's about the right size. And then basically you just take off the cap part here. You slide the chuck with a drill bit in it there. You put the cap back over it, and as you when you tighten it down, it steadies the drill a bit. You want to make sure you use the right chuck so that your drill bit is sturdy in there. You don't want it to start spinning when you get it, when you get to where you're going. So when you start to drill in, you don't want it to spin and get stuck. Okay, so I'm going to set these over to the side for a minute, and what I'm going to do is get started with this Amon sprue. So I know I want another Amon and another Megadoo. I believe what we're going to do, and it's okay to talk about it, is we're going to have a 300-point game come up soon. It's going to take a little time to get it because of the fact that when you have 300 points, you have a bunch of models, so I have to change the graphics. I'm the one who does the graphics on the Heavy Gear Blitz videos. So I have to kind of update them to handle more models. So right now they're there and they can handle, depending on the models, but they can handle like 15 or so models in the size that they're in. But when it comes to having more models, I have to change the graphics to fit. No big deal because I enjoy it. It just takes a little longer. So if anybody here has watched any of our Heavy Gear Blitz videos, if you have any questions about what goes into them, I'm going to have to answer those, or just about what I'm doing. So I got the Megadoo body out. The Megadoo body is out. Right now now when you're putting this together, you can get the assembly instructions off of Drive Through RPG. It's a book, has all the assembly instructions up to a certain point. I don't know if there are any new models that have come out since it was made, but it's very useful because it shows what all the weapons look like, so you know what weapons go with your particular part. It also goes through and shows you each sprue and what the names are. Alright, so we're working with the Megadoo, or the Amon body. And I just want to grab these real quick. Like I said, don't, feel free to talk while I do this. You're not going to distract me, and we'll get into it as soon as I can get finished here. Just trying to look at my instructions for putting the Megadoo together. There we go. Or the Amon, not the Megadoo. All right. This is live, so apologize for any delays. Alright, so what we need now is to cut off our weapon pod mount, our mounting part. We have 2 on an Amon. And one day I'll get them off of here. Welcome to the Amazing Dave Show, where Dave learns how to use plastic cutters. You'd think I'd be the pro at it since I've done it so much, but I do it in, in spurts kind of thing. I don't anyway, I don't do it every day. And all right. And the 2, what's the MRG? Medium railgun. So the Amon has a couple of different options. And that's where magnetization comes in, and we'll go. Some of these parts I'm wondering, I haven't gotten to magnetizing an Amon yet, that whether I'm going to be able to use the size of magnets I have to get this stuff all mounted. But I'll know more when I get to that point. Okay. Those two, and those are the fronts for the weapon. Okay. So we know the Amon is going to sit like this on the chassis. So first thing we're going to do, we're just going to jump into that. We're going to go ahead and try to get a magnet in the center of the mounting bracket, or the mounting hole here. Well, that's not drilling at all. I think that's one of my broken bits. Let me get a different one. I did break one at one point. Kind of snapped it off. If they don't have a point, they don't like to drill. So, that might be a little too big. Sorry, trying to get this off of here. Pull this out. There we go. Let me get one of my smaller ones. I'm just going to dump those out there. And what I'm doing is I want a smaller one in order to get to anyway, I want a smaller one in order to start a hole, so that whenever I get to the bigger one, it kind of centers it. Helps to center it, I should say. Alright, so we're going to try to get kind of in the center of this part. And we're just going to drill in as straight as we can. There's a number of ways to use a hobby drill, depending on how you hold it, how you're comfortable. But it has a spinning top on it right here, so you put your palm or the side of your hand or whatever on it, depending on how you want to hold it, and then you spin the drill at the bottom. It takes a little effort, depending on what you're drilling. Having good bits helps. So what we're doing right now is we're just trying to get a starting hole for our next drill bit. Now you can step up a couple of notches at a time if you want. And we're going to pull out. Well, I wish I'd have kept that drill bit out, but it's okay. We can always find it again. I'm going to put this larger drill bit in here. The reason why I have this larger one is because it drills to the size of the magnets. I believe, like I said, it's like 1/8. All right, so now that I got a starter hole there, I'm going to take my larger drill bit and go further in. I'm going to try to hold this up so I can see it kind of go in there. So we're just trying to get in there, keep it as straight as possible. Well, my little thing here came loose, I guess. So the drill bit wasn't turning. So I'm going to drill. If it gets a little too tight in there, you might want to bring it back out. Make sure you got all the pieces of plastic out of it that you're already drilling out. Set it back and go in a little further. All right. So once you've got a hole drilled, you want to make sure you don't want to go too deep on it. So you want to make sure that you, magnets are fun. They make things pop around. You want to make sure that you test to make sure the hole's not too deep for your magnet, because if it goes too far in the hole, then you won't get the connection you want between the two magnets. The other thing you want to make sure of is, before I stuff that in there, you want to make sure that your magnet that you're putting in is on the right side to connect to your other magnet. So the last thing you want to do is to go to put your Amon or whatever head on the chassis, and come to find out you have it the wrong way and it pushes it off. So we want to attach it to the base, and then you can use something else, metal, to grab it, I guess, and pull it off, but you want to make sure that you keep it the right way. All right, so we know that we want this side to face up on this magnet. Well, let's pick it up with that again. Okay, so we have the magnet there. A lot of times I try to use another metal piece that I can use to kind of help scrape the magnet off but not drop it. Okay, so we know what side we want it on, and we're just going to test to see if it fits in the hole that we've drilled and that the hole's deep enough. Oh, that one flipped over. See, show you why we want it. It's important. If we don't get it the right side, then it just repels. So it may take some getting used to at first, and I'm not an absolute expert at it, so I mess up at times. We just want to get it in there. You want to have something non-magnetic to push the magnet in. See where you're at. And I drilled that hole a little too deep, but it will work. So if we can get the magnet out, that's got to be loud for you, I apologize. I can use another piece of metal or something to get it, try to get it out. So that's in there pretty good. What I'm going to do on this one, I think, since I drilled it too deep and made the mistake, and it's in there, is I'm just going to put some glue in it. Because a thin layer of glue is not going to affect how well your magnet sticks. I like to use this. They're, I don't have sponsors or anything, so I like to use this Gorilla Super Glue Gel because it's not runny. It is a gel, so it'll hold in the spot that I want it to be in. So I'm just shaking it up now. But no one ever wants to talk. Come on. Talk to me while I play with my toys. Alright. So what we're going to do here is just going to put a little bit. Depending on, there we go, a little bit coming out there. And we're just going to squeeze it on the inside of the hole where the magnet is, like so. So be careful not to drill too deep on these like I did, but it's trial and error, especially when you're kind of new at it. So I've seen it done a lot, but I haven't done it near as much as some of the other guys, other people that use magnetization. Last thing you want to do is to stick it on here too soon. Okay, what's up, Tristan? How you doing, buddy? Anyway, so for those who don't know, who watched me paint Blood Bowl minis and stuff, this is for Heavy Gear Blitz. Heavy Gear Blitz is, it's a war game, miniature war game, using robots. So when I say robots, robots were created basically out of necessity. Nick explains it in one of our videos. There's a introduction to Heavy Gear Blitz, but just the Cliff Notes kind of thing is they started using their construction and work equipment, loaders and so on and so forth, in order to fight against so Earth colonized a planet, and then they abandoned it, and then they came back to take it back over again. And the people that were there have been living, free for a long time and doing their own thing. So they didn't want it to happen again. I didn't want them to take it back over, so they started outfitting everything for war. And these are some of the things. This particular faction is kind of a corporate faction. They have some really fancy things that aren't necessarily, I guess, equipment for that. But anyway, they use these little spider mechs. I'll put this one back together so that everyone can see it. Well, you get a picture of it right there. But this is what magnetization does. I can go through and pick out the weapons that I need according to what version of that and just slap them on and adjust them. So, it's the beauty of magnets. Okay. And then if I want to change it, I have other weapons here with magnets in them. Well, that one, yeah. Just two other ones. And I just take off the one and put on the other. Alright. We're going to let this cure in here, but it's not going to stop us from working on the top part of things. Alright. So we have, just checking everything out here. Yeah, okay. So there's like a ball joint right here that these go on. These mounts. The Amon, that's the other thing about magnetization. You want to decide when you need it and when you don't. There's not a version of the Amon that I am aware of that does not use these pieces. Okay, these weapon mount pieces, that's why they're called weapon mount pieces. So the only difference is where the weapons are on it. So the weapons mount to one end of it, and that makes it the different type. So right now in this particular sprue we have, so we have rail guns, the two, it's like medium rail guns, We have heavy machine gun, which is this piece here, which like most Caprice mounts underneath on all of them. You have the option for heavy rocket packs, which are these two pieces here. They have little circles, and then you have your medium anti-tank missiles, which are those two. Now, what we need if we want to make the options, okay, for the if we want to magnetize options, the Amon seems to have the best options when it comes to that, because you don't have to worry about too many things. So all you have to do is magnetize the front piece where everything clamps on, or where everything goes onto this mount. So you're going to put a magnet in this piece, and then if you can, put a magnet in this piece, and I think it's just thick enough for that. So we're going to put magnets in these four pieces, and then these two pieces, and that'll allow us to pop off the ends and change what they are. Now, you don't have to do that, so the Amon could be even easier. You could just put whichever one on there you want, and then when you come to play, you say, hey, it has anti-tank missiles as opposed to the medium anti-tank missiles as opposed to heavy rocket packs. But just for the sake of showing you what I'm doing, or what to do, or how those options work, we're going to magnetize those pieces. Amons are a pretty expensive group, or a pretty expensive unit. I think base they're like 30 points. And then it just goes up according to the different types. So I'm going to open my drink real quick. Apologize for the thing. For those who might be wondering, hopefully I get I'm going to work on these tonight, and then next Thursday. I trying to do this every Thursday. This is the third week in a row. And I'll probably go back to the Blood Bowl Dwarfs next week. So we can try to get those done. I posted some pictures of the Blood Bowl Dwarfs on our Instagram. If you just look up What Game Now on Instagram, you'll see it there. Alright, so what we're going to do, that's right, we're going to have to, if we want to magnetize the whole thing, we're going to have to magnetize the rail guns too. I forgot about that. Just getting my reference picture here. Yeah. So they go... What it looks like is that the rail guns, let me double check this. No, they don't. So they go on the same side. So the way this mounts, it mounts with this ball goes into this socket right here. And then this is the back. This is the front. And your weapons go on the front. Yeah, I'm going to have to clean this up because it's not flat. So bear with me a moment while I do that. Sometimes when you're cutting things off the sprue, if anybody's done it before, you already know. You get some of the leftover plastic where it was attached to the sprue. Let me check. A little bit hard to hear. Let's see if we can get any more volume out of this. You know what? Let's pull this microphone forward. move this a little bit further out of the way. How's that? Is that any better? Once again, guys, there's a delay in what you see and what I'm doing. So if you ask a question or make a comment, give me a moment to answer. So Tristan will let me know if that's any better, and it may just be because I'm looking down and trying to talk up, but it worked the last few times, so it must have been just a positioning thing or something in the way of the microphone. All right, so we make that to where it's a little more flat, and we get a much better. All right, I'll try to talk a little bit louder as well. And then we can put these together. Now, since we're magnetizing these pieces, what we really need to do is we're going to need to, for all the magnetization, we're going to cut off this little pin right here that we would normally glue to. It's like a little pin. We're just going to cut it right off with our knife. And we're going to attempt not to cut ourselves like someone else we know, Tristan. And we're going to clean it up real good. There's a little bit of lines there. This is a mold line remover. You can use the back of your knife. So if you turn it around and just scrape with the flat side of your knife, you can also get the same kind of result. But this one's made specifically to remove mold lines and stuff like that. So when they, if you're not sure what those, are, whenever they injection mold plastics, sometimes where the two molds connect, there's a little seepage, and that creates, it's not 100%, not 100% clear. Dang it. Speak, David. It's not 100% clean when they put it out of the mold. So you have to, they have mold lines that come up. There's a little faint line where the two halves of the mold connect. So that mold line remover is dull enough to where you're not really cutting off pieces, but sturdy enough and has enough of an edge to scrape off a little excess plastic. So you'll see how it scraped off those shavings. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a hole for the magnet in here. And we're going to try to get it on top of where that where that little piece came off, where we normally use to attach, it's like an attach point for the glue. And then we're going to, so we're doing it with a smaller bit to get us started and to help guide our bigger bit in. So once again, this time we don't want to go too deep like we did last time. What was that? Anyway, so the little one off, and this is the size of our magnet. We'll cap that one back on. Magnetizing is one way. DreamPod 9, the company that makes heavy gear Blitz, actually put out a whole other, like, it's a reduced cost compared to buying another starter box, but they did put out some more of the leg sprues. So you can get the the leg pieces without the armor plates for your smaller mounts, your Kadesh's, Bashan's. Yeah, basically it, Kadesh's and Bashan's. Alright, so we're just going to put a little bit there. I definitely think we can go a little deeper. We're going to have to go a little deeper on this one. So, just remember, try to make sure you don't go too deep, and don't make sure you don't drill too much without clearing out the bit, because it just makes it harder to drill. So we're going to test fit a magnet in this one. Wonderful thing about magnets is they stick to anything metal, so all the bits and my knife and my snips and everything are sticking together right now. Little tiny magnets. They're tiny. You can see it on the side there. Yes, it is the truth about you, Tristan. It is the truth. And I know, how dare me. The first one you put in, you don't have to worry too much about which direction it's going. You just want to match the other one to it. As you can see right here, we got a little bit of... well, hold on, let me push that back in there. Remember, something non-metallic to push it in here. And that is pretty flush. We might be able to take a little bit more out of it, but on one side, but man, that is pretty flush from what I can see. And you can see how it fits like right in there. All right. So we got lucky and drilled that one pretty perfect the first time. All right, another thing that I'll do when I'm working with two separate pieces, working with a piece, if I can get it to come out, see. Ugh. The magnets are strong enough, but let me go ahead and, there we go. So, all right, so we know which direction we need it, because that's how it attaches best to the magnet there. You might want to, when you're doing this, because I want to see if that does go on that one. You want to try to center up things as much as possible, but this doesn't have all of its pieces on it, so it's going to be a little different. But anyway, you probably do want to make sure that you get you pay attention to how all your legs are and how the magnets are in them. The last thing you want to do is put it one way on one and not in the other direction, the other pole on the other one, so that when you try to put on this one, it fits, but you try to put on that one, it doesn't. And then you have to make sure you switch. You want to make sure that everything, interchanges with everything. So once again, we got the right way we want to do it. And one thing I sometimes I do, so we want it to go into the model, just into the piece that we're working on, just like that. So one of the things I might do is, just to get it started, I'll put a little glue, making sure that I'm not overlapping too much or getting too much on the outside of it. Just put a little down in the hole. And when I say put a little bit of the glue down in the hole, it's something you'll learn. Something I'm still learning. The difference between too much and not enough when it comes to the glue. So you can put it on there like that. and I got a little too much. It's seeping out the sides. So I am going to get a toothpick, I think, out of here. And yes, that is a dwarf on top of my toothpick holder. I was showing in a previous video that you can use just about anything around as a holder while you paint. Use old prescription bottles. You can use salt and pepper shakers. You can use, well, what that is, that's just a there's a lot of different things you can use. Anything round that's easy to hold on to. And that I didn't quite plan that right, so I think the glue got a little thick on that one before I actually got it all the way in where I wanted it. Yeah, that's a fire slayer. Makes a neat decoration on top of your toothpick holder. Okay. Also, if you put a little too much glue in there, it can cause, if you don't have like a little extra space in there, it can cause some issues. Because the glue itself can fill in a space. So, anyway, we got that on there. Very important when working with the magnets too, you're going to have force on them. They're going to be basically the magnet, and the other piece that's trying to connect to this one is going to be pulling on this magnet. So you want to make sure that you let it cure pretty well before you start sticking things together. What's up, Brennan? How's the kitty doing today? I asked you that last time and you didn't answer me. So on this one, it's going to be very important that we use our guide bit, or starter bit. And the reason that is because it's actually a little bit too big. The reason that is because I'm going into a little uneven piece here, because it was made to attach around a post, like a little post. So good. So what we want to do, this isn't the one we cleaned up. We cleaned this one up. What we're wanting to do is to get it as close as we can to the center. And it's not too hard because there was a post there that was supposed to slot in here. So as long as we drill into that spot where the post is to go, oh, the puppy. Well, hello, Dippy. Brennan is saying that his puppy, Dippy, is saying hi to me. I love Dippy. So I'm saying hi back. And in case you're wondering, Brennan is the kitty. So I asked him how he was doing. I'm going to find a different bit because it seems that I have grabbed the broken one again. So welcome to anybody who might be joining us. Please don't hesitate to ask questions or make comments. We are assembling Caprice models for Heavy Gear Blitz. Miniatures game called Heavy Gear Blitz, made by DreamPod 9 in Canada, in the Canadias. It is a very fun game that I'm very into right now. I'm going to have a big game coming up soon, and I'm trying to get some models. Why did I do that? I just needed it to stay in there. There we go. Trying to assemble some models so I can have the bigger army. Unlike Warhammer, stuff like that, you know, if they have a bigger army, it's not that many models. Your combat groups generally contain up to like 5 units or 5 models, and then go up from there. This is a little bit iffy here because we don't want to destroy this model or this piece. So we're trying to get this bit to start as close to the center as possible. Once again, there's like a little slot with 2 pieces on it here, which we probably could have filed down to make this easier. We might just do that now. It'll make the length of the railgun a little bit shorter, but not enough to be concerned. So we got a flat file here, and instead of trying to do it the way you can use sandpaper or whatever, I just happen to have this flat file right here. I'm just going to run it back and forth on here until we file away down to where it's flat. It'll take a moment, but we're going to do it, and there's nothing you can do to stop us. Freedom! Yeah, I like the idea of Warcry, so I like to kill team. But I think I explained on my other video, I don't like the fact you really can't use models you already have or whatever to make some of the units. I'm all for like new units coming out or whatever, but there should have been some other model, some models that you already had you could have used. Tristan was saying we should try Warcry from GW sometime, and I'm somewhat agree with that. Just I have a lot of things, like with Kill Team. For anybody who played Kill Team from Games Workshop, you will remember that you could use some of the that's not working right. Okay. Anyway, you could use some of the infantry units from 40K and make your own army with existing models or extras you have laying around. Now, I know that's not like the great business model for GW. Hey, you can just use what you already have. We don't want to sell any more models. But, I mean, to a certain point, I agree that they are a business. They need to make money. But, that being said, that's one of the things that got some of the people who still play Kill Team today into Kill Team. And Tristan said that some of the Khorne models have Khorne has an Warcry army. But are they models that already exist, or are they just a Khorne army they created for Warcry? That's my question. I am not all the way down on that. And I'm not in any way suggesting that you have to file down your weapons. It's the way I've chosen to do it. You can get smaller magnets and use a smaller drill bit. But I happen to have these other models here. Okay, well that's cool. As long as they have some of that you can use. But how many, he said that the Blood Reavers and Blood Warriors from regular Age of Sigmar can be used as in Warcry. And Warcry is like the skirmish size game for Age of Sigmar, like Kill Team was for 40k. Looks like we might actually be getting somewhere. There we go. And he was saying they can be used in there. And it's on the Battlescribe app, so we can open up and see. Yeah, I'll look at it. Not really a part of what we're doing here today, but yeah, I'll definitely look at it and see. Because I'm wondering if, actually, if you open up the Battlescribe and look and see if there's any Fire Slayer units, that'd be cool. I'm just testing the fit. It looks like we can go a little further down on this one. But yeah, I do suggest on these, if you get into these tighter spaces, that you consider, if you're going to magnetize something, I can buy the size you think you're going to need, or the size that you know that you're going to need, and then buy the size smaller. Cool. Well, we'll definitely have to play some Warcry then. We'll see about getting a book. Sweet. So he says you can use the Fire Slayers in Warcry. Hearth Guards, Gather Guards, Berserkers, and nice. Sweet. Now, here's the question. Are those actual... See, that's the thing. I don't know. I like dwarfs, so that's why I say Fire Slayers. So, and are those... And those are actual infantry from... Or infantry. Those are actually... frontline units or whatever for that. Yeah, I know we need the cards. You said we need the cards to play the game and stuff. Yeah, we need that. That's understandable. So, Hearth Guards. Yeah. And those are, I know the Hearth Guards for sure. And those are like units that you can just buy a box of. Okay, cool. It says they are. Alright, so I've got this pretty much where I want it. The one thing about working with super glue is that it takes a little time to cure, like completely get where it needs to get its full strength. But it doesn't take very long for it to start to harden. So like right there, my magnet decided to rebel against me. I was just trying to fit it where I needed it, and it flipped over. So slide it in there. Once again, something non-magnetic to push it down. Okay. Wipe off the excess so that we can play with a little bit more. And this is going to go onto this, and I'm going to try to do it to where, see, messed up. Crap, I messed up. If I can get this out of here before it sets too much. So I screwed that up and put it the wrong way. Where did that toothpick go? Don't know that we're going to be able to get this one out of here. Use this as a learning experience. Pretty sure. Don't want to use the blade of my knife too much. Number one, I don't want to cut myself, and number two, I don't want to break the blade off. I have more, but just trying to make enough space in there to where I can get something else in there. I'm trying. It's a tiny magnet. Tristan said, just yank it out. I'm like, I'm trying. What I'm going to do is give it a little slice down this inside edge. My arthritis is acting up. Cut a little gap in between here and there, which I can cover up with some liquid green stuff or some, just paint really. Maybe I can get something in there to pry it out. Once again, children, don't do crack. Get stuck in there, lad. Yank it out. Yeah. Gotta give it a go. We're getting it out. It's not fully cured yet, so we'll get it out. Just have to be inventive on how we do so. Because that cutting's not working. We're gonna have to cut deeper. Let her get in there, Lottie. Once again, we can repair this damage, but we've learned a valuable lesson today. Ha! We have recovered it. Or we can not repair it and call it battle damage. One of the two. Doesn't matter to me. Alright. Boop. This is the one we should have matched it to. So, we're going to give it a little bit of a clean out here just to kind of get some of the residue off. A little bit more glue in there. That's right. This is a battle-hardened. This is a battle-hardened Caprice Amon. It raises the value of the gear. See, no problem. Told you it was no problem, Lottie. We'll clean it up a little bit. We'll use that same file we used to file that piece down to file off some of the rough edges on that side. We're not taking off any detail because there isn't any on that side. And we're definitely going to have to let this one fully cure before we start putting things, or at least get a good cure, a little bit of a cure before we start putting things together on it, because it's less packed in there. But just to give you an idea, see? Now, that being said also, yeah, we'll definitely have some more stuff, Tristan, for you that you can actually paint. Now, so the other mistake that I made, and that's you're going to run into, this is what happens when you don't get everything flat. So this gun is like that. You see how that goes up? Now, luckily enough, I have more magnets, and I'm going to have some extra Amon pieces, because I'm never going to field 5 Amons. Well, don't say never, but 5 Amons is not, in my opinion, standard procedure. So, but you get the gist on this. That's kind of whack, But anyway, we can start another. We'll do it better on the next one, and then we'll just pull a piece from the other one. I got plenty of magnets right now and plenty of pieces to work with. But you get the gist. So yeah, the game's definitely cool. The one thing that I learned that I like most about it is that when I play it, I feel like I've not just played a game, but just a little bit of skin off the top there. Almost pulled a Tristan. Knife sharp. Be careful. Put a little bit of skin off the top of my thumb there. It's a close shave. Alright. And also too, the magnets are strong enough, so even if you have to get a little bit deeper than flush, they'll still work. Yeah, I made it oof. I know that everybody's talkers, but Tristan's seen, well, Brennan did as well. Seem to be the only ones yakking with me. If anybody else has any questions or whatever, we're going to go back through this and do this again. So we're going to start over. We have the weapon mount piece. We're going to go in with our smaller drill bit. And this, like I said, is to align the bigger drill bit and make sure that it goes in as straight as we can get it. Alright. If you're going to do a lot of magnetizing, it might behoove you to pick up another drill. They're like $10 or something, 10 or 12 bucks. But if you're going to be doing, if you like the magnetizing thing and you're going to do a lot of it, definitely do. Make sure we get as much of that stuff off of there as we can. Always better with a clean little bit. Get it start in the hole there and straighten it up as best we can and get it started. Once again, go in some, back up some, clean both the drill bit and the hole you're drilling into. Get some more. You don't have to put a huge amount of pressure on it usually, especially with plastic. So just like I said, drill in. Just keep doing it until you get to the depth that you want. Now, once you get started, if you want to move a little bit faster down, you can give a little bit more pressure. What I'm going to do on this one, just to make sure we don't have any issues, is I'm going to go a little bit deeper than I need. Okay, so and that way, by the time I put the glue in there and everything, it should sit just below flush, and that's what we want. Because as you saw with the last one, if the magnets are sticking out of either piece, you're going to get that gap, and we don't want that. So we're going to toss this in here. Doesn't matter on the test fit exactly what side you use. Okay, as you can see right here, I take my brush here and use the back of it to push that in. It's flush right now. I mean, it is completely flush. Actually, maybe a little bit in. But okay. But once I get Sorry, but once you get glue and stuff in there, it sometimes makes it stick out further. And right now, it's like the opposite problem. So I test fit it, and it fits so well. But I can't get it back out of there. So what we may do, and I'm not going to dig this one out and cause issues. Let's see if I can get my knife to go on the side a little bit. I might be able to pop it out, but I'm not going to do too much. Because I do have the option of putting some glue on top so that it can seep down in the edges. Wipe it off. Just make sure it's in there, and we'll see. But we'll see what happens. We do have, I mean, I'm pulling with the force of this magnet, and it's not going anywhere. If it does come out later, then put a little glue on it. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to pop a little glue over the top. And what's important here though is that we don't want to use too much. We're not looking to, we don't want these pieces to glue together. We want them to magnetize together, so we want to make sure that we wipe off the top layer of glue so that we're not stuck with the super glue stuff there. We're just trying to get a little bit down in the cracks there. So like I said, if it fits in that well, I mean, that's a strong bond and it's not moving, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And if it does pop out, just put a little bit more on there. All right, so now we can see this is pretty flush. Yeah, so this piece right here is not completely flush. This part has a little bit of a lean to it, so that's why we get a little bit of a lean there. But even that looks pretty good, and once you paint, you want to know the difference. So when it gets mounted on your Amon, like so, excuse me, like so, boom, shoes on by it, I guess. All right, so once you get it mounted on your Amon like that, then we're good. So that's pretty close, but we are gonna, I do have another sprue, well actually I do have another gun here that we can use. So last time the problem that we had was that we have a slot here that's not exactly the right size we need, and when we try to put our big drill on there, it catches on the sides of this slot here that would normally slide over the post that we cut off. Okay, so what we did last time was go to file it down. I think that's still the best option. We just need to make sure that we get a deep enough hole this time and make sure that we level this out as much as possible. Sorry, gamers on games. It is possible to magnetize the armor plates on their legs. I currently do not have the right size of magnets. These 1/8" magnets that I have are a little too big for the spots that you really need to make contact. So if you went down to like a 1/16, use a smaller drill bit is definitely possible, but I'm not going to do that tonight. So right now I'm working on getting this Amon magnetized up. One of the easier ones as far as how many magnets and placements you need. But what we're trying to do is just basically show how it's easy to change what something is with magnets. So if I want, and this doesn't have all of its jump jets on, yeah. I think you could do it definitely with the 1/16 or 1/32. There is a good spot for both the top plate and the bottom plate for it. And there's a spot, I don't know if you can see this, there's a spot right in here on the bottom leg plate where the leg itself, so right here, butts up in there. That's actually the place where it has to go in order for it to fit right. If you drill in right in this little spot, there's actually a circle there. That's where you would magnetize on this plate. The problem with the size, I could do that with the size magnets I have on the plate itself. The problem lies in, here, let me snip this off. The size problem lies in the leg itself for the top plate mainly. No, the bottom plate works too, but all right. So the narrowness of this part right here, I can make it work. I could file something down. The bottom plate, the bottom plate goes in the bottom. That spot right there, I could probably fit a 1/8 magnet in there if I really wanted to, but I'd feel more comfortable with the 1/16, and you'd put it basically right where those two lines are that you see when it's a Kadesh or a Bashan. And then the top plate, it would have to go somewhere on this leg, right, like right in here. You'd probably have to drill down in there. But yeah, so one thing, and I'm sure you know as you're talking about sizes of magnets and stuff, but people who don't know, when it comes to magnetizing, it's basically finding the points where you would normally glue, in my opinion, normally glue, and then finding a way to put a magnet there instead. So, yeah. Most definitely want to get smaller magnets for that part. And I may do that in a later. Oh, sweet. Awesome. Yeah. Definitely a lot of different ways to do things. And if that's the size that he is, I'll take that as definite. So you are doing some heavy gear content as well, I take it. All right, anyway, back to what I was doing while I'm waiting. There's a delay, so I have to wait for him to respond. But yeah, so it's basically just finding that point where you would normally magnetize and then put a magnet there, or find a way to get a magnet there. All right. So, and once again, this part right here, we could wait, order some magnets, and do it with a smaller magnet as well. Yeah. So the great thing about heavy gear Blitz, if you take the time to magnetize, you can save a lot of money. I won't say save time because magnetizing sometimes takes a long time, but definitely save a lot of money. So once again, I am just, like I said, I could wait on this. I'm just showing you some of the options. I could wait on this, get a smaller magnet, stick it in there, and be fine. Another option also, since you Amon's, the one piece, the heavy rocket pack and the medium anti-tank missile, you know, are the same kind of magnetization, but you could also, since you get 5 in the pack and you're normally not going to be using 5 Amons, you could just set up 1 or 2 sets of these normally, like gluing them onto the mounts, and then magnetize the mounting bracket instead of the actual weapons. So this piece right here, where it goes into the socket on the side, like that, you could just make that a magnetization and just swap out the weapons and stuff. Like I said, if I had to make a, if I had to suggest, and you have the time, I would definitely get a number of size magnets. Get to some like 1/8, 1/16, 1/32. Actually, the 1/16 and the 1/32 would work for most things on these models. And then once you have those, then magnetize everything. This, what I'm doing right now, which is filing this down, not necessary if you wait for the magnets. I just want to get it done for a game later, so I'm taking the time with my models to actually do this to them as opposed to waiting. So your choice. All right, we should be able to get, but yes, Gamers on Games, you can do a lot of customization, a lot of magnetizing, which limits the amount of models that you have to get. Boxes of models and things like that you need to get in order to put your army together, and especially if you're playing at the 150 threat value level. Now, once you start getting into higher threat value levels, if that's what you want to do, if you plan on going higher, sometimes you can't avoid having to buy more models because you just need more bodies. Now, what I will say, DreamPod 9 has some very reasonable prices also, which I'm sure Gamers on Games can agree with that too. But they have very reasonable prices on their models, their army sets. I mean, you can get a basic 150 threat value out of most starter boxes, and I think they normally run like $60. They do run sales, so you can end up getting them for $50, or whatever the case may be. But very reasonable prices. And like I said, if you just need the basic legs up, you can need a leg sprue. You can buy those from them as well, and do more magnetizing or just make more models. Some people don't like to take the time to magnetize. I think it's a neat thing to do, whether you're trying to save money or not. And once again, I will go to my grave with doing this disclaimer. I am not the world's foremost expert on any of this stuff. So I just enjoy doing it, and like I said, this is my hobby time that I do live. So I just chat about what I'm thinking about at the time. So let's get this started. That ridge is still a little high. It's catching the bit. But anyway, see if I can get some of this ridge out of here. But they make, like I said, they make it kind of affordable, so especially if you're playing at that 150 or even 300 thread value level. There's not a whole lot to buy relative to other games. I'd like to see brand new for you to go to a Games Workshop and get into a Games Workshop game for with any type of playable army, any type of point value for $60, except for Kill Team or Warcry. Those are two different things, but any larger army game, something that's played on a 6x4. Alright, see if we can get this hole drilled. There we go. We got her started, boys. Finally. Sorry if I'm off camera here. Once again, patience. And I am taking a harder route for this. If you can afford the time for smaller magnets for these tinier pieces, do so. I'm saving you some time and frustration by making the mistakes for you. So you know what not to do. That wasn't the plan, but I wasn't planning on it going off flawlessly either, so. Alright, so I should have a magnet over here. And I'm just testing to see how it fits in here. And we'll need to go a little deeper on that for sure. We'll take that off of there and there we go. Actually, we probably should bring that other piece back so we don't make the same mistake we made last time. And test what side we need here. Anybody else out there that's just hanging out, wants to chit chat, let me know. Or just say something, talk. It's pretty much an open forum right now. So the whole point of this is just for me to do the hobby stuff and chat and answer any questions I can, or just chat about random things. So then, like I said, y'all can learn some things from it if y'all need, if y'all can, if y'all can't, or if you already know what I'm doing or how it works. That's fine too. Whoops, come back here. So we're just test fitting this piece in here. Yeah. And we're going to need to go a little deeper on it. So it's all trial and error. It's easier to take out a bit. You know, you can always take out a little bit more. But it's hard to put it back. So drill a little bit. I know it can be annoying. Drill a little bit. Clean out the hole, and then test fit again. It looks pretty darn good. I think I want just a little bit more out of it. So it sits flush. There we go. That's going to be pretty much perfect. Yep. All right. Sweet, Justin. Yeah, definitely. If you're building some terrain stuff, you want to let us use it on the channel, and that'd be cool. I mean, I don't think you can ever have too much or have enough terrain ever. So, Eivor. Put a little bit of glue in the hole there. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. And then position this here. Drag it off. Just going to wipe off the excess so that we don't get a bond between them. Between the two pieces, we just want the magnets to be bonded in. So we try to get all the extra stuff off of it. Make sure everything's fitted in as far as it'll go. Wipe the extras off. And once again, we really should let this cure up a little bit before we start sticking pieces on it, but we got ourselves a nice weapon there. So I'm not going to pull it apart, I'm just going to slide it. And those two pieces can go. Alright. What I'm going to do, since I got this magnet in here where I want it, yeah, the drill, yeah. I have one. You had one. Apparently there's a loose dog outside. And right now I'm just trying to clean up this ball a little bit. The one that goes in the socket, because it had a little bit of leftover material on it. Before we go to glue it in there. And then we'll put some glue in the slot. These are pretty much interchangeable. I'm not going to magnetize this portion because all the weapons use this portion. Now you can magnetize it and make it to where it, rotates around and so on and so forth. This is a cool extra thing, but I don't need it. So we're going to glue this on, let it go. Booyah, booyaka, booyaka, 619. All right. Yes, I are a wrestling fan. So, yeah. Alright, I want to grab one of my other Amon screws here. What did I do with those? We're going to do one more of these. Let's try this again. So we got that one done. And on the Amon. So let's see if we can do this one again. Just learn together. First thing we want to do is cut off this piece. Right, sure. And why did we cut off this piece, someone might ask? Well, it's because we're going to drill a hole there. You don't want a post where you're going to drill a hole. You can drill a hole and put a post in, but you can't put a hole in a post. Well, you can put a hole in a post, but, you know, whatever. Smooth this out a little bit. And then we're going to get to drilling, like so. Drilling hole, drilling hole, drilling hole. Boom. Oh, see? That's why we got to make a pilot hole. Because, man, that's off a bit. Alright. Let's get that bigger drill bit. We're going to done make this hole big. And those who might be offended by my accent, I came back honestly from Texas. Yeah, that's a little off. Yeah, well. We'll make it work, Lottie. Boyo. Boom, 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 boom. So I tell people, you've spent 4 hours doing this and that and the other, 4 hours painting or whatever. It's like, no, it would have taken me a lot less time if I wasn't yakking with people. Even if it's just a couple. I like to talk. I do. Ask anyone who know me. They'll tell you. I'm a talker. Gonna put a little glue in the hole. A little glue in the hole. Like so. We're gonna drop this magnet in the hole. Like so. What? There we go. You want to drop that magnet in the hole. Anyway, we're going to clean up our mess. On that piece and on this piece. It looked like it was more flush than it was. Let's see how it looks. Put a magnet on it. You know what? I could live with that. Alright. Make sure it's pushed down all the way. That looks better, actually. Yep. All right, anyway. Just gonna push this down. Oops, almost dropped it. I'm good at that. Okay. And then we'll put a little bit of glue in here. We're going to attach this one. A little bit of glue there. We're going to put this particular piece in this particular place. Boom. Ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-dum. Oops. Get there? I like that. All right. So those two pieces are on. I don't think Amons have any jump jets, do they? Anyway, they do not have jump jets. I'll probably get another faction or two Tristan, eventually. So it'll give you a chance to put together some models and paint them. Tristan here, Mr. Tristan singing in the chat, is a very good painter, in my opinion. And I can't change my mind. All right. So, look at that boy. Look at that boyo. What do you think about them beans? All right. Boom. All right, so as you can see, we can just swap them over on the different legs if we want. We don't have to worry about, but so if we want another Megadoo, we can make another Megadoo. There we go. Boom. So, like I said, that's that. So I'm going to finish up with this Amon here. Anyway, so we can swap them around if we need to. Now, as you can see, we buried that magnet a little bit further in, and I mentioned that earlier. So what ends up happening is if we put that there, and I put this back on here. Yeah. So anyway, so we got yes, he is a good painter, an excellent painter. Hey, Tristan. It's a Blood Bowl. I'm going to play Heavy Gear Blitz Blood Bowl. See, the Amon, I'm going to magnetize this ball. Let the Amon carry it. Alright, so these parts should be easier for two reasons. Number one, they already have holes in them. I got two. Why wouldn't it be your favorite? Should be everybody's favorite. So I say these parts should be easier, and they should be, except for the fact that they're harder to hold on to because they're smaller pieces, but we'll get it done. So now, the one thing you have to worry about with this piece is that the magnet's thick, the plastic's thick enough to hold these magnets. This might also be a case where you would want to wait for a smaller magnet. Of course they do. Duh. Do you know how about robot warfare works? Jeez. I thought you were smart about these kind of things. Fumbalaya, Fumbaluski. Anyway, what you want to be careful about on these little boys is that you don't drill too far into them and drill through them, because they are thicker than the magnets, but not that much thicker than the magnets. So we definitely want to drill a little bit, test fit, and drill a little bit more on these. Now I know for a fact that's not deep enough. And because it's hard to hold on to these, it's going to take a little bit longer to drill. When you start to cut into them, they try to spin. No, that doesn't work. What the heck? Okay. Now see, it's already starting to poke through. How dare it. They shoot you during the kickoff, that's what happens. Duh. Now listen here. I said, boy. Just because you're a magnet, boy, doesn't mean you can just hold on to my drill. I said, get your bottom in there and do as you're told, boy. That's close. Very close. I wonder. Nope, I don't want to do that yet. I need to make sure I get the right side there. Pantaradigus. Are you painting him the same one again or a different one? Okay, once again, this piece, probably a good idea to order some smaller magnets because they may be thinner. I'm just trying to clear out the sides on this one because if I go too much further, I'm going to poke through it. So, where did my mega magnet go? Still on there. Alright. So if I push that right there, that's pretty dang good. So we're going to do that. We're going to turn it over. Pretty strong magnet, that is. Alright. Gonna a little dabble do you on this one. Actually, might use the toothpick on this one. Another option you have with super glue. You can do it right in there, or you can put it on a toothpick or something like that. And run it around in there. Just kind of coat the sides. There you go. Missing Scarbrand's base. It's a 50 mil or 60 mil. I'll look again around here and see if I can find it. A lot of stuff made it here from the shop, so that I didn't necessarily want to make it here from the shop, or that wasn't mine, or whatever the case may be. But here nonetheless. Because that was the one that had the... No. Scarbrand's base was the oval one, right? No, 100 millimeter circle, not an oval. Okay, I'll look for it. Did it have any paint on it at all or anything whenever you last saw it? Or was it just a plain... That was the corn one, was the one that had paint on it, right? Okay, next plate, please. He's a special boy. He liked to finger paint on his base. Yeah, remember that one. Like I said, I don't remember seeing one. I ran across the 120 oval base the other day. Don't remember seeing a 100 circle, but like I said, I'm gonna look around again. The 100mm had skulls on it. We're just talking about. I used to own a tabletop gaming store, and Tristan would help out there and was a customer, and did a lot of his painting and assembly and stuff in the shop. But he had this bad habit of leaving things laying around, and that bad habit has led him to be missing a couple of things. So we're trying to figure out if they got left the shop and got packed up with the other stuff when we closed, or if they're somewhere else. But I know I have a number of things here. So all I can guarantee you, boyo, is I will look for it. And like I said, I need to make sure that these are boom, and then we shall. Oh. Yeah, it's way off. Anyway. Yeah, the skulls can get a little expensive. Did you use all those skulls on those two bases? Because you got like a whole box of skulls. Alright. I'm just trying to get this one a little bit deeper. Sorry for the squeaking immature. And once again, watching to make sure that I don't drill straight through this thing. The thing about drill bits is they have the point on the end. So when you get to drilling, that point will poke through the other side before the drill does. So you want to make sure that you're not. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Because you want to get a little deeper, you can't because you're starting to poke through. You see there's like a little bit of plastic starting to push through there. So that's going to be close to as far as we can go there. Let's see how she fits on here. Use a little bit more. I don't know how much more I got before I poke to the other side, so let's see. Alrighty. You know what? I'm going to call that good. My philosophy, I don't know if Tristan remembers, or if anybody who's watched this particular part of What Game Now, where I'm painting and stuff. Let's see if Tristan remembers. Tristan, if someone complains, looks close at something that I've done and complains about how it looks up close, what do I do? I should say, what do I do and what does Tony Soprano do? Because that's where I got it from. I know I had to have said it like 100 times. No. Usually, yeah. But no. I tell them to look closer and then I slam their head into it. Yeah, close to it. Kai. Anyway, so see the basics of how it all works when it comes to magnetization of these models. The only thing we haven't done well, besides, I mean, we have the connections here. We got our rocket packs fronts for those connections. So those are good. Same thing we did with the rocket packs, we'll do with the light anti-tank the medium anti-tank missiles. And they'll stick on the front. The Amon doesn't have a whole lot of detail stuff. But the one thing I wanted to go through and show you, because I'm probably going to get off here. It's been a couple of hours. Don't want to stay on longer, but I'm tired. I have to work tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. Alright. Same thing goes with the bases for the legs. And I might do some more of this later, but I needed to do some work on it. And it was a way for me to sit and chat with people. So you want to take the same procedure that we did. This is the leg screw. This is the centerpiece. This is the part that sits, well, in the center. Okay, that's where the magnet goes in there, and then the magnet goes in the head. Okay? So, what we want to do is we want to, as center as possible, mine are a little off. Just take the smaller drill bit, find the center as best you can, get in there, use the bigger one, drill down to the depth, a tiny bit further, and then same thing, glue it in. I can show you. I did have a question the other day about legs for these. So before I go, I'm going to cut one of these centerpieces out and actually assemble the legs. and then show you where the plates go real quick. So other pieces drying and so on and so forth. All right. So this portion here, you see there's 3 of the same and then 1 there, and that would be the front. Because it has a little outcropping, so if you put this same piece in other places, if it was dead center, it wouldn't have as much bracing. But if you put it like that, it actually sits up on it a little bit. Sits up on it a little bit better. All right, so the legs. Each leg has. Sorry, we'll pop this off real quick. Each leg has a piece that goes. That goes into it, like, and you'll want to clean the edges off because a lot of times it'll leave a little bit on when you cut them off the sprue. But you want to make it as flat as possible. You can use your knife, or you can try to use, mold line remover, whatever. But you want to make it as flat as possible. All right, you take your centerpiece, you take your leg, this portion right here should be facing down and out, and if you look at it from the bottom, what you're going to get is it's going to butt up on the inside like that, like so. Make sure you can see it. I'll bring it up a little higher. It's going to butt up against there and kind of make a 90-degree angle from where it butts up to where the leg comes out. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah. All right. So what I do is when I put a leg on, I put a little bit on this piece. It's supposed to make contact with the center. And I put a little bit on the top because that's supposed to make contact with the top. I go under, turn it over, line it up, find the good spot for it. I can hold it for a few seconds there. Normally it doesn't take very long with this Gorilla Glue. You hold it on there, like so. Make sure you're touching the top and that side, and you got a leg on. Then cut the rest of these legs off real quick. I always do that. I work real close to my body when I'm working on things like painting and stuff like that. So sometimes I pull back too far. Alright, let's see if I can get this piece here. Once again, sorry about the sound of my chair. This is the chair from the shop, and it got beat up a bit. Everybody using it, so. I rescued my leg. Yeah, I also drop things. I'm good at dropping things. I'm good at dropping things. You're good at cutting yourself. Everybody's good at something. Shut up. Alright, that one cleaned up pretty good with one little slice. Once again, I put a little bit on this flat surface. Put a little bit on the top. And just towards the inside, not too far out because you don't want it to really show on the outside. And try to work across from each other and kind of line them up a little bit. But the main thing is that you get it where you want it as quick as possible. And let it roll. Alright. Like I said, I just wanted to show you how the legs go together. Now, these particular models can be played without bases. In the rules, there is a base size for it. If you ask me what it is, I can't tell you. I'm assuming it's going to be something like a 40 or 50. Probably more closer to a 50 millimeter base. Because of their legs. So when they're not on a base, if you're like not like 100% making sure that everything's level on these, they're going to sit a little odd. Because you don't, push hard enough on one side, on one leg, and then whatever. So sometimes you end up with a little bit of, or you don't clean up these things, and then you have one that's just slightly off. So just make sure. Little Buster Con. Boss. A little bit there, a little bit too much. Probably could have moved some of that from that side to the top. I'll grab my toothpick. I'm going to do just that. Just move a little bit of this over. Alright. Toothpicks are wonderful because they're disposable, so if they get too much on them, you're not going to be mad that you got lost something to the super glue. Alright, we just want to, that one tried to fold over on me. And I've got some super glue on my fingers. There we go. Ta-da! Yeah, he's not bad. And that's how him sits. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleaning on his top when I put him together. Because part of my skin is stuck to it because of the glue. But that's how you put together a pair of legs. Now, this, the way they sit right there, is what's used for Kadesh and the Bashan. Those are lighter armored legs. And you just put the head on it. This is not a Bashan or a Kadesh. But you put the head on it. Boom. Top of that. See, those look kind of weird that way. But if you take, this is the Bashan head right here. Let's snip one off. This is actually the head for Bashan or Kadesh, I believe. I think one of them, either the Kadesh and the Bashan, or the Bashan and the Mega, or the Kadesh and the Megadu, share the same head. You look through my handy dandy notebook. Okay, it's actually for 3 different models. Well, let me look here and let's make sure. Okay, so these legs are actually for two different models. I apologize. The Kadesh have the armor plated legs too. And the Kadesh uses the head I just started cutting out. The Ophic, so we call it Ophic, uses the same as the Megadoo, just a different tail and stuff like that. So there are actually 4 different model types that can be made from the same. So you have, let's go over it, the Megadoo, the Bashan, the Kadesh. Well, let's do it this way. The Megadoo and Aphek use the same head. Say the Aphek. Sorry, the Aphek is uses the light legs. The Megadoo uses the heavy legs. The Kadesh uses the same body as the Bashan, which is the one I'm cutting out now. The Bashan uses the light legs, and the Kadesh uses the heavy legs. So there are 2 versions of the same head. And then the Amon has its own sprue and its own thing. So 5 total models. 3 of them use... Three of them use the armored legs, and 2 of them use the non-armored legs. All right, this is a Bashan a Bashan / Kadesh head. It's off because there's actually a tail piece that goes on here that gives it a little bit of a booty. Anyway, yep. So the Aphek, the Aphek has a tail as well, like the Megadoo does. It just has the lighter legs. And the Kadesh uses the heavy legs, and there's a difference in a few things. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind here. Although you do have the option to magnetize. One thing I didn't do on this first Megadoo was magnetizing the jump jets. I would suggest some smaller magnets for that, because I kind of know what I want. But if you want to get the most out of the absolute most out of it, you would magnetize the jump jets, because there's only 4 per leg sprue. The Megadoo uses 4. And it's like one of the Megadoos uses 4. No, they all do. The Megadoo uses 4. The Aphek uses none. The Kadesh uses 2. Okay, so you want to make sure that you can, your ACOs don't use any, obviously, and your Bashans don't use any. Okay? But if you want to be able to use whatever, whenever, magnetizing the jump jets will also allow you to get a little further customization. Plus, they look cool when you can move them back and forth like they're thrusting. All right. I want to do one more thing here. So these have been sitting up here a little while, so I just want to kind of show you how they work. You just put them on and line them up. And now you got rocket packs. You do the same thing with the anti-tank missiles, and guess what? You pop these off or slide them off. See, where the magnets are there. You slide those on. Boom. Your magnets are strong enough and everything is cured, they'll just fall right in there. You have your rocket packs. Or do the same thing with the anti-tank missiles. Or I'm going to bring out the burrows. Just boom. Look at this. You have the burrows. Alright, so now we got weapons. And just so you know, and I probably won't be doing these next week because I need to have them done before then. I just wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get some hobby in. I'll be working hardcore on getting these done tomorrow. But I need to concentrate on actually getting them done and not yakking. Although I love to yak. But just to show you, we end up... it's an A-mount. Well, still got to mount his gun underneath, but that's just a little bit of glue. You get an A-mon. And that's what the Mega do. And they all have interchangeable weapons. This one you just flip off these. Or I suggest sliding them off. Like so. And then, whoops. Like so. Rotate them into place and you have a different weapon. Like so. Oops. Ah, him dead. I killed him. Anyway. So yeah. Once again, there are a number of things that can be done to these models, depending on what you want to do with, how you want to use them. But I think they're cool. So I need to finish up the rest of them, which I won't do tonight because it's getting late, and then. Then I need to get them primed and slap some paint on them. Justin, maybe I'll call you up and see, because you are a faster painter than I am. And it's a very simple paint job. So maybe we can get that done. Maybe I come grab you and or bring you some paint or something. But anyway, don't know for sure. And you do have your infinity models, which we need to go to do. Or your starting models. You need to get them all ready. I played a few more games of Infinity over time. They do sometimes play Sunday at Sharp with Chris, the guy that taught us how to play, or showed us our first game. So. So right now I'm just trying to closing some things up. Does anybody have any questions before? I mean, I'm not in the video right this second, but I'm working getting that way. So anybody have any questions for me before I start to, before I decide to run off? cleaning up my space, because if I find that if I don't clean up my space now, I won't clean it up later. So these little things from Walmart, they're like 50 cents or something, 50 cents or $1. They're like 50 cents. Are great for little bits like these drill bit stuff. Put these back in. Sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I also have all those pictures. They're still on that SD card from when you took them. I was actually going to pull them up and share a couple of them on Instagram and stuff. Orange Dove. What did I do with the other piece? I didn't put it in there. I thought I screwed it on. Oh boy. Oh boobala. Oh Tristan booby. I didn't drop that piece. I do drop lots of things, but oh, there it is. I do drop lots of things, but that's not it. Chip, chip. I send them off to you. Send them off to you. Anyway, just winding it down here. It said no questions from anybody so far. Always clean up your area. Put your toys back in the toy box. If you're married, it'll make your wife happy. If you're not married, it'll just make you feel better about yourself. I don't care. I don't really care. If you don't want to, don't do it. I like to, especially if you get a little bit of time to talk to people. All right. So anyway, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. In the description for this, I'm going to put something new. But you can visit us at our website that was just put up a couple days ago. WhatGameNow.com. That'll have links to all our social and whatnot. Uh-oh, a secret project. Oh boy. Secret project. I don't know if that's good or bad when it comes to you. Anyway, you can see us. Check us out at our. It's like our website, which is like a hub. It has all our social links and tells you a little bit more about us and what we're all about. You can also catch us on Facebook. Message us there. Comment on the post. Do whatever you want to do there. And that's Facebook.com/Big Kids That Play. Big Kids That Play. I do that every time. I did that on a video the other day. Tristan, you get a kick out of that. I said I do the whole outro, and it was all Big Kids That Play. Anyway, it's whatgamenow.com and facebook.com/whatgamenow, instagram.com/whatgamenow. We can do twitter.com/whatgamenowlive because someone took the other. But the other thing that I'm excited about is the Discord server. So we have a Discord server set up. If you haven't been invited, let me know, Tristan. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I don't think you have been. But anyway, so you can check it out on our website. On our website should have a link to it. with the rest of our social icons, and also on our community page. And also on a Facebook page, there is a pinned post at the top that shows our website address and our Discord. So I won't hold y'all any longer. Thank y'all for coming to watch. Sorry I didn't get more done. Yes, we have a Discord. Tristan, I will send you an invite, but you can also get that from Facebook and our website. So whatgamenow.com, and our Facebook at facebook.com/whatgamenow. You can find the link to the Discord there, or you can just send me a message or send us a message and we can send you a link to it. Thank you very much for watching. You'll have a wonderful night, and don't forget to keep asking the question, what game now? Bye-bye.